Mystics, I have discovered something. When it comes to my own spiritual health, there is a missing ingredient that I absolutely need. And it turns out that missing ingredient is you. Yeah. Friendship. Friendship is an absolute necessity for our spiritual health, our spiritual longevity, and overall well-being. And that's what we're talking about today on the Mixed Up Mystics. It's a conversation that's really important. So let's get started.
This is a production of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. Please help us keep the conversation going by rating, liking, and subscribing to this podcast. Thank you. Also, make sure to check out our other podcasts, Hope for Humans, funny, usable conversations to help change the world around you, and Got a Minute Mini Podcast, presenting funny stories and independent music, all in about 15 minutes. Now, here's Jay and Anjanette Webster.
Mystics, what is up? Thank you, Evangeline. Hello, Anjanette.
Hey.
How the heck are you?
I am swell on this rainy, I don't know, man. It's been raining for like 10 days.
Well, I feel like we're on a course to try and get all of our annual rain in just this month. Let's just knock it out. Let's get all the rain now.
Yeah.
And then we won't get a drop.
It's like Noah's Ark. Are we prepping for something? I don't know.
Well, what's funny is we live, as those who are from the Ville know, we kind of live in a bit of a bowl. There's like a little mountain hill ridge that kind of goes almost fully around us.
Our little city.
And we're kind of and so for the longest time, people used to think that we were kind of tornado proof because this hill would not allow something to develop and carry over. And
couldn't.
And in a lot of ways, we've had very few tornadoes that way. And it also kind of works that way with rain a lot. Like you'll see on the radar, here comes rain.
Well,
and it is.
You love the radar.
It's every color of red, yellow, purple.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just real rain.
Yeah.
And it's really coming. And there is no way to avoid it. It's going to happen. And just like Moses, it gets to us and then, whammo, it just parts and falls apart. And you're thinking, oh, it's the bowl. It's the bowl. So the fact
normally
that,
after we've had like 2 weeks of drought and you see the rain, you're like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I know.
But somehow it's been the exact opposite this month. Like we might have a 10 or a 13% chance of rain.
Yeah, like a tiny.
Don't count on it. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Other people are kind of like, no, probably not. And then all of a sudden you look up and it's just, it's a cloud thing about the size of Kansas coming on you in every color of the rainbow.
It
and you're like, okay,
true.
Well, I guess we're going to get rain today.
Well, and because of my garden, I love it when the rain comes. Like I always say that, oh, God did the watering today. It's awesome.
Well,
but right now we're good.
Not everyone would consider me a real man, and I'm okay with that.
You've got some tendencies toward real manhood.
I do some stuff, but still, even at this young age, I've had a lot of experience, and there are still a few things that will excite me more than mowing. Yeah. And then it raining that day within just an hour or two. And you're like, oh my gosh,
so
you did it. This is perfect.
Yes. And it cleans off all the little shavings and everything. Well, it's the same way when you plant something.
Yeah.
If you plant a new flower bed or you've done any, tree trimming or all the things that I like to do. And then it rains after you. It happened yesterday.
Right.
That was one upset. I planted some last kind of replacement plants for this next phase of summer, and then the rain came. And I was excited about that when it's been to 12 after. Yeah.
Isn't that just like our walk with the Lord?
Is it?
No. And that's not why you guys called, and I'm sorry for that homeschool.
Sometimes we just have to catch up.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of catching up, I want to let you know that we had, some of you were there, we had an amazing Dreamers Live event last Friday night here at the Loft, and lots of new people, which we always love. And so many of our great friends. Jay Wenzel brought somebody.
Yes.
And our friend Terry.
Terry Lindsay
Terry was doing a line dancing class.
Yes.
10 minutes before she got
here. A demonstration.
And she just grabbed a couple people and said, hey, come to this thing called Dreamers with me.
And they did. Great.
And they actually showed up and they weren't freaked out.
No, they signed up on the mailing list. Like they were into
really
it.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. So anyway.
Really fun.
We were so thrilled to see the people. We had a great conversation. It was pretty deep stuff.
Yes.
And
for those of you who missed it, I hope you feel bad.
Yeah. And then we went
kidding.
to, we all kind of got ourselves over to Unity Square, just like 2 blocks away. And for the Juneteenth celebration, and it was magical.
It was lit, as they say.
Yeah.
It was so
And somehow
Man,
it did. The organizers did such a great job. So they notified different television stations and radio stations and all the publications, and so
first
media
off,
showed
there was
up.
a great band called Full Flava Kings,
Right.
And they play every
They
hip
brought
hop
it. They
and
brought
rap
it.
song and fun stuff from like the 80s on, stuff that everyone knows.
Right.
If you're black, you definitely are down into it.
Yeah.
If you're white
but
and
at
you
some
like
point
pop
they ended up
music,
playing White Stripes, and they
It
played all
was
kind. Played
hilarious.
some Eminem at some point, and I was like, "What is happening
yes. And so our African American brothers and sisters tolerated a lot of white people dancing, and it was funny.
Okay, so here's what I walked away with. I thought
great,
to myself, and I said this to the organizers at the end. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we've gone to the Juneteenth celebration on the West Side
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
And it's super cool, and the people are super generous to let us be a part of it and very kind.
Yeah.
And someone somewhere made the decision, hey, this shouldn't be a West Side thing. This should be a citywide thing.
Citywide, yes.
Let's entrust this to the whole city. And when they came to Unity Square, which is right in the middle of the city, and then as a result, there was like 600 or 700 people there, and it was amazing.
really
and
special,
then
like-
the media showed up, and so there were drones going all over the place and cameras and stuff. And we woke up the next morning,
Yeah.
and our family was
Yes.
featured
Yes.
in the video for the television station that
It
carried
was
it.
so
and
funny. Did you notice that it got reshared today with another network?
no.
Yeah. So it was on Fox 23 out of Tulsa. And my sister, shout out to Ash, Ashley Elmore, my sister, who many of you know, in the comments were hilarious.
Oh,
it was
my
like,
gosh.
get it, pink shorts, girl. She had to get ready in a hurry, came to Dreamers Help Us, went out to Juneteenth, and was wearing like a yellow T-shirt and some pink shorts, which just made her very noticeable in the dancing footage.
Your
And-
brother, who's a musician and an
Yes.
audio guy, was actually helping with sound
He was
that night.
running sound.
He took a break in that exact moment.
Yeah.
And so there's this huge dance party happening on the Great Lawn there at the Unity Square.
Yes.
Band is hopping and everything. And for some reason, the video portion they're showing
yeah.
is kind of panned a little to the left, and it's almost all your family.
Yeah, it is.
And as your brother said,
And
I
a
have
couple
never
friends.
looked more white.
We looked
in
so
all
white.
my-
I mean, I think they just had to be like, who are these people?
I think the organizer was like, I don't know if this was a good idea or not. This is not.
And my dad, of
This
course,
is
was
not spelled Juneteenth. I don't
It
know.
was so good. My dad was wearing a special shout out to my dad.
Oh,
He was
my
looking extra
gosh.
festive. He's become quite the dandy. He
Yeah.
had a reddish burgundy blazer on him, and he
It was like
a cool beret.
70s red, kind of
Yeah.
almost a little bit of a linen jacket.
Yeah, and
but
he
it
was
was
hugging everybody in the
it was
video
a
clip.
don't disguise me red kind of thing, and it was just like right
You know,
there.
our friend Brian Waits is so funny. He goes, man, he goes, your dad, he's so cool. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He just always looks so stylish. He goes, truth be told, he just looks like a pimp. And then I have to tell my dad because he does. It's the
It was
hats.
wild.
It was a fun night.
Oh my gosh!
So anyway,
So needless to
was cool.
say, we had a great
It'll be
night
big,
Friday
big
night.
next year.
We got a great night Friday night. We've got another event this Friday night, also at Unity Square,
Mm-hmm.
the Community Fest. It's like the 6th or 7th year they've done it. It's huge. It's all of our diverse family groups
Yeah.
in Bartlesville are there. There'll
Celebrate
be henna
different
tattoos
cultures,
and music and food trucks and all this kind of stuff.
Indian dancing, all
Oh,
sorts
my
of just
gosh.
cool stuff.
If you are
East Indian
anywhere in the area,
representation.
please stop by. So that's this
Yeah.
Friday night. It starts at 5:30. It's at Unity Square, right
and
next
you
to
know
the
what's
center. And
cool about both of those things is I remember that you were on the committee that helped design Unity Square and also went through all the controversy to name it.
Right.
And it ended up being called Unity Square, which was partly to unify the area between Price Tower and the community center, because that's where it's located. But it was also the idea that we would all be unified in the community, which is why some people didn't like it. Oh, Unity. Oh, what, you going all left and
I
liberal?
told you.
No, it's
I
going
told you that,
Jesus-y.
yeah.
It's pretty Jesus-y. Like, let's all get together and party and hang out.
well, I
So
told
that's
you
what
I have a
last Friday
close
was.
friend, and I won't mention his name here, but I have a close friend, and we were hanging out. He said, "Oh, let's get some coffee," and I said, "Okay." So we did a coffee thing one morning. We're hanging out, and I don't even know how it came up. And he said, and I pardon the language. I'm just giving you the quote.
Oh, this
friends.
is a quote. We would never say this on our own.
He said, "Oh my God, Unity Square. Well, that's just the gayest thing ever. I don't know what they were thinking with that." And
that
so
what he
I just
said? You
gave
were on
it.
the group?
I just gave it a minute, and so he
said,
and then he
"Well,
made
let
some
me tell you
allegations.
what we
as-
were thinking."
He made some allegations as to what they were trying to achieve by the name and what they were trying.
Like to
subversive
force a
and-
liberal
yeah.
agenda.
And I said, I'm pretty sure that's not what happened because I'm the one that recommended the name. I'm the one that submitted the name, and I didn't mean any of that when we said the name.
But that's
and
an interesting
voted on it
perspective.
and all that stuff, and it was just like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
And then he got a little red, and we all
and you're
moved
still
on.
friends because
Yeah,
you
of
handled
course,
it well.
yeah.
But that was what's cool about it was last week at Juneteenth was incredibly unifying, and then this Friday is Community Fest, where it's just a
Right.
cultural celebration of all the different types of people that are in our city.
Yes.
And I just thought, man, that's going to make some people mad. I love it. So we're going to
Yeah.
both.
Anyway, yeah. It's hard when you have to get mad at the stuff that is blatantly nice.
Well, the thing that's funny, I mean,
What is it? So you want to say all the little children come to me. You want to sing the songs about
Yes.
unity. You want to talk about all the nations of the world. He holds the whole world in his hands.
Yeah.
And then when we try to bring heaven on earth, you're like, nah, I don't do
want
that.
That's the favorite to me. Like, at what point, and I remember when you were naming this, and we talk about all this kind of stuff on Mystics, so here you go, guys. But it was the kind of right, the religious right
Yes.
that were upset about that name, and you know, because of their Christian values. I'm like, okay, so it's like a bizarro world
Yeah,
when the name
right.
unity, which is one of the biggest
Right.
values of Jesus, they're mad about it.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a second, unity doesn't mean something good to you? Like,
Right.
what's happening?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
funny.
come on out to Community Fest. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I love it.
We had, speaking of community and unity and peoples
Yes.
and mystics, we had a thing last Wednesday night. We were, we've said before on Mystics, we happen to go to a Friday night church on Wednesday.
Friday night church on Wednesday, FNCW.
And also, speaking of which, there's two quick reminders as we've kind of close out the announcements here. One,
Is that what
if
this
you have
is?
not gone to Mixed Up Mystics on Facebook and
Yes.
select that to be a friend and to follow that, please do, because you'll get all kinds of information about the podcast and if there's bonus stuff. And also right now we're getting ready for our reoccurring segment, Ask a Reverend.
Oh, I
in
love
which
it.
we bring Jason Elmore on, who is the pastor of Friday Night Church, FNCW. And so if you have a question
Oh, good.
that you would like to include for Ask a Reverend, well, that'd be a great place. Just go on there and then you
Okay.
can message us.
And it
just
could be
say,
anything,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, like sports, spiritual stuff.
We'll probably include that. We've got some stuff that we want to talk about that day. But if you've
like
got
it.
some stuff, just send us a message. It'll be a lot of
Submit
fun.
your Ask a Reverend questions,
Yes.
your inquiries,
Right.
as we say. That'll be fun.
So we were at FNCW last week, and it just happened to be a thing where a number of people in our group were kind of going through some real life stuff, So somebody had a spouse who had just gone through a stroke, and the recovery process was really significant, and it was at this level where our friend Jenna had moved from spouse to caretaker in the matter of just a couple of weeks. So it was just a really big deal. And, so the amount of recovery you make after a stroke in the first, I guess, like 8 weeks is really significant. So that's where 90%, I guess, of your recovery kind of just happens. If you can establish it then.
Yeah.
So you got to make as much progress as you can in those first couple
So
of weeks.
she's been at it 24/7
Oh,
trying
man, yeah.
to help that happen.
And then there's a person in our community that helps with a lot of giving stuff that we also participate in. And he's down at the Mayo Clinic and really going through some real life stuff and health stuff and breathing stuff and all that stuff. And so I was thinking about that, and we were praying for that person. And then there were 2 or 3, and then we just lost a person from FNCW, Nia, and Nia's sister still comes to church with us. And so there were a lot of things like that happening. And then from there, we were kind of doing some music as part of what we were doing, and it was really moving, and we were kind of caught up in it. It was really sweet, and it just, you could feel the light and the shine and the smile of God on it, and this life of it. And then I was just thinking in that moment, isn't it so good that we don't have to do this alone?
Yeah.
Isn't it so wonderful that we don't have to bear this stuff alone? That in this little community of ours, FNCW, that we have people with us that can share burdens and can share joys and can share our lives together. And then I was thinking today, because we talk about this a lot. We talk about how important it is to be with people and how critical that is for every area of your life and for every matrix of happiness and joy and health, And then I was thinking, it's so good that we have each other, but even more so in the act of, or the practice of faith. That, yes, it's always important to have friends and have connections and have family and have relatives and connection, but even more so as a faith community or as people of faith, we need each other. We need open conversations and honest conversations and all. We need someone who can know the truth about us, the truth about who we are, can know if something's going wrong with us. So we all need people, but as people of, quote, faith, we need each other even more. And that theme runs through all the scriptures in the process.
Yeah, it's interesting because, in America, especially in Western culture, we're struggling with what people would call like an epidemic of isolationism.
Right.
So the access to technology and and then I think it was obviously made worse during COVID when people felt what it was like to get out of some of those responsibilities and to not have those relationships. And then the more isolated you are, the easier it is to become and stay isolated.
Yes.
But the truth is, and then also the proliferation of online church and all those, different things, which really at heart are good.
Right.
The idea that you'd be able to listen to spiritual podcasts and see, sermons or worship or, the things that we do, and have those available via the internet, but our faith was never meant to be done alone.
Right.
And it's tough, man, when you don't have people that are around you, encouraging you. I mean, I think maybe that's why I like the scripture that says when two or more of us are gathered together, that God is there.
Yes.
And obviously when it's just you and God, he's there. But I think there's a point to that, is that there's something special when we're together, whatever that looks like for people. And it's super important. And it'd be easy to omit that part,
Well, for me, it's, so much of it is how I work out my faith. I as brilliant as I am.
Incredibly.
I don't have it all figured out. And I need conversation to work through some stuff.
Well, that's part of why we do this.
Yeah, I need conversation to call me on my own BS. Because there are things, as we say this a lot, there are things that seem accurate, truth, wonderful in my mind. And it rattles in there, and the dialogue keeps spinning in there, and I keep working at it. I'm thinking, this is brilliant. This is truth. And it's only in the moment when I speak it out to someone and I have a conversation with someone that sometimes I can see, oh, that's not nearly as brilliant as I thought it was.
Right.
It's not true, actually. And now that I'm saying it, it seems absurd. But we need each other to kind of work through that stuff and have those conversations. We need relationships in which we trust each other to be able to have honest conversations and feel safe in having those conversations. I don't know if there's a heaven. I don't know if there's a hell. I don't know what this means. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know, So all those kinds of conversations.
Those questions that we struggle with. Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to have those conversations and be honest about it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I think what's interesting about that is even if, you're involved in what we would consider a church community or, a gathering of faith, what's sad is you can be completely involved in a faith community and not have anywhere that you can be honest.
Right.
Or you're not willing to be vulnerable about the questions that you have. So you can go to those and feel alone if people aren't being willing to be honest.
What's the typical setup in a church scenario?
Yeah.
It's a lecture listen.
Yeah, exactly.
One person is at the front of the room. They're speaking and you're listening.
You're taking it in.
And that's great. That's an important thing, an important role, but it's not community.
Yeah.
It's not relational.
That's right. And it doesn't require anything of you.
No, you can go sit there and listen and walk out the door in the same condition you walked in.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about are friendships and mentors and relationships. You and I have a lot of very honest conversations. We also kind of see things in a similar way. So in a way, that's really healthy because we get to talk about a lot of things. But I also need to be around people who don't always see things the way I see them.
Right.
And that will challenge certain things, that will expose me to other ideas I might not otherwise get to.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me.
It is. Yeah. I think it's key. And do you ever notice how, do you have to, as you get older, do you have to make yourself sometimes get out and be with people and be vulnerable? Like,
oh, yeah.
It's
right.
not, it's something, I don't know what that is, but there's something that keeps us wanting to stay hidden and to stay behind and think,
Well, we don't want to be confronted or
Right.
challenged or exposed or embarrassed, so that's part of it.
So I think the fear of that a lot of
and there's
times
some
keeps
energy
us from.
to it. I mean, there's some effort that it takes to be with other people, to be slow to speak and quick to listen, to prefer other people, to go just physically get there and potentially be uncomfortable for a while.
Yeah. And it's going to require some work of us, but we'll die without it, man.
Man, it's so important. I think it's so easy to fall off and fall away. It's, when we're isolate ourselves, when we don't have people in relationship like that. It's our challenge that we would get together and encourage each other into the works that we should do, the things we should do. And I've been honest about this on the podcast and other places, but I'm not the same person on my own.
Yeah.
I'm left to myself, left without you, without friends, without other people to speak into my life. I'm not the same person, and I'm not as happy. You know? And so, yes, it takes me a lot, maybe even more effort than the average bear to go and be with people, because it's not natural for me always. But I've made that choice. And when I act on those things, I'm much happier.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, because now I find these people in my life that I just legitimately love. And I feel a certain responsibility to and for, and that also helps me make better decisions in my life. If I think to myself, I'm short on cash, I should rob this bank. It's not hard for me to figure out how many lives that would destroy.
You can
how
see
many
the
lives
trail.
that would, So in some ways, just those relationships alone help me make better choices in my life, keep me accountable.
I think so. I think one of the reasons that one of the things that keeps us from developing those relationships, becoming part of those groups, et cetera, is we let ourselves off the hook. And I think one of the big ways that it happens, especially for people who have been in the church or grew up maybe like we did, we tend to think, well, I was hurt, by this particular church or by this particular minister. Well, let me tell you, that minister is human.
Right.
And I'm sorry that happened, but that's, as long as we're on this planet, I was just surrounded by hypocrites. We're all hypocrites.
Yes.
I mean, they're easy excuses that we give ourselves. And the truth is, it's the same reason I think that people are afraid sometimes to pursue a romantic relationship if they've been hurt in the past.
Right.
And so we let ourselves out of that. We write it off and we say, well, I'm just going to, watch this, just listen to the Mystics podcast and I'll be fine. Well, certainly you will not be fine. No, but my point is, or watch these sermons online. And because I've been hurt before and I don't want to get involved and I don't want to put myself out there.
Right.
And I mean, that's really a trap.
Yeah.
And it leads us to a sad life without a lot of perspective.
Yes.
I mean, have you ever noticed, I know you have, because we are kind of in the same life here, but we've seen people that will drop out of, a spiritual gathering that's regular, and you won't see them for a while, and you'll think, well, maybe they just are having a tough time, or maybe they decided to go somewhere else or whatever, and 2 years later they're in jail.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
right.
You're just
it does not take that much.
I mean, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, it can get weird fast for some people, and a lot of times it's people that were really involved. They had a lot of energy, and that was a really big part of their life, and then you're just like, goodness
Speaking of
sakes.
which, a friend passed, and we were at a funeral recently, and they had fallen on some pretty hard times, and we just kind of knew them, and being in a relationship with them was a bit of work. It wasn't naturally occurring. It was a thing. It was a choice, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we go to the funeral, which is lightly attended, and all that kind of stuff. And there's some family there, and even that is an act of love, just to be there and to do that. And they do the obligatory slideshow while we're there. I say, okay, here we go. And so the slideshow's happening, and they start the story at the very beginning, and they go back and they show pictures of the person has a child and all this stuff, and then you're looking and you're thinking,
Is this
what? Is this the same human?
Yeah.
Because everything about them in their childhood looks like a JCPenney's catalog.
Yeah.
They're dressed and they're groomed and then they're in their right minds and everything looks
family.
The family looks normal and there's some smiles and some all that kind of stuff, and then you see them playing ball and you doing athletics and going to school things and
you're like, what?
And then you say to yourself, how did this person get from point A to point X?
Yeah.
How did this person get to starting off here and ending up in a place where they're isolated, where they're alone, where their mental health is completely at risk and jeopardized and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And what scenario ended up with this person being so all alone?
Yeah. And there can be lots of answers to that, but I think
but the
under a
alone
lot of
thing was
circumstances,
difficult.
it's one avoidance at a time.
Yeah.
I think the less you're with people, the less you want to be.
It goes beyond economics. It goes beyond race. It goes beyond all those things, all those factors. It's just the alone factor is really difficult.
What could we say to encourage people, or what are some ideas, for those that are listening that relate to this? And I'm going to guess that's probably lots of people that are listening to this. And I mean, I'll be honest, because that's what we do. I have a lot of people in my life, but in terms of those real close relationships, I have had a whole lot of best friends in my life that have moved away.
Right.
And
that's
at a
really
certain point, I just didn't want to go through the effort to replace them.
Right.
So I have a ton of more friends than I could shake a stick at a certain level.
Right.
But in terms of that intimacy that can come from people knowing your family and knowing the skeletons in your closet, I don't have that. That's something that I need to start working on developing again, because I know how important that is to have. So for people that are struggling with that, like, what are some ideas that you would
Well, here are the first two things that come to mind
Mm-hmm.
that I think are important. One is the value of truth is that it shapes us. And so we come into contact with truth and we see it and we say, oh, my thinking or my life is not aligned with this truth. I'm going to make a change. So the idea of valuing other people, or the idea of forgiveness, all those things are truths. I might not be in agreement with that right now, but when I read that or see that or have that conversation, I say, oh, that's truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to change. So
when you're reminded of
all
it.
that to say, this is God's design. As Jesus says, may they be together and unified and at one with each other in the same way that you, God, and I are one. So in the same way that Jesus is one with his Father, which is a tight relationship, that's the design and his want for us, that we would have that with each other. So his design, the way that we are designed, is to live together, and especially as people of spirituality or faith or whatever you want to call it. So knowing that says, okay, now I need to adjust my values and priorities to meet that truth.
Yeah.
And also Jesus says that if we remain in him, he will remain in us. And the way we remain in him is by holding on to his teachings. So this is one of his teachings.
Yeah. And
so
he would ask us to obey it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's isn't like a
It's
popular
his
word,
value
but
that
he
we-
says this is why.
Right.
It's the same way when
We're safer when we're together. We're healthier when we're together. We're more happy and hopeful and full of light when we're together.
Yeah. It's like when you have a teenager, for example, and you are saying, sometimes you have a chance if you say, hey, I don't want you to do this.
Right.
Sometimes you have a chance and there's a reason to explain why. And here's why. Da, 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 da. Sometimes you just say, I just want you to do this. And you can't understand why now because you're not, 44 like they are. I'm just kidding.
Right.
But do you know what I'm saying?
I remember
but
44.
I want you to do it. And so to me, I think that is one of those, we don't love the word obey, but that's it. God said, it's not good for you to be alone. Don't give up gathering together. So just do what I say because you think you can talk your way out of this, but I've seen the program and this is how you're designed. And so we have to do it.
We talk a lot. There's a big catchphrase that is really popular right now, which our daughter suggests all the time. She says, "Trust the process, Dad. Just trust the process."
They say they just say trust. They go trust,
right?
And you're like, okay.
But it's true. Trust the process, and this is the process. Right. Trust this, and it's worked for thousands and thousands of years, and it's part of it. And I would say the other thing that is really, really important to what you're saying, which is something that I should be doing as well, which is to ask. I need a couple of friends like this.
Yeah.
I have some. We don't get to see each other as much. It's not always as easy. And I've had a lot of people like you move away.
Yeah.
I need intimacy at that level from a friend. And so that's probably a place where I could begin to pray and say, hey, God, this is your design.
Yeah.
I could really use this in my life.
Yeah.
Would you help me?
Yeah.
Can you bring some people, or if there's people in my life that I'm not seeing in this light, help me to see them in that light.
Yeah.
But and then, there are some relationships we could start taking some risk on. Like we've said before, in most relationships, we set the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And we say, this is as intimate as I want to be in this relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe we get off. So we put our best foot forward. We talk about our accomplishments, or we choose not to make ourselves vulnerable at a certain level. And that says to the person, oh, okay, that's where they want to be. They want to be at a 10 or a 11.
Yes.
And so for us, we set that bar, and the more vulnerable we make ourselves, the more we invite that from other people.
Yeah.
And the deeper that relationship gets.
And so in a lot of ways, honestly, it's on us.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to say, so-and-so is going to ask me to coffee.
Right.
Or somebody's going to come by and say, you know what, I have the coolest little church gathering and you should come with me. But it just doesn't work like that most of the time.
Right.
You have to be the one often to take a risk and to do that. And that's not fun because we would rather be asked on the date than to be the asker.
Right.
But that's how that is. He who wants friends must first show himself friendly.
Yes.
And so I think that's it. I think it's taking a risk. But I love your idea about praying about it. I mean, that seems like so fundamental to say, but it's like, oh yeah, like we ask for God's help in all sorts of situations.
Everything.
But when's the last time I said, hey, I could really use a friend?
I can just tell you, I mean, that.
And he will bring those people in your life.
Yeah, I can just tell you that we do ask on the regular for things, and on the regular, he comes through.
Yeah.
And I can see that fingerprint in my life often. So why not this, especially when we know this is what his will is. You know, so many other times they say, I just wish I knew what God wanted. Well, this is what he wants.
Right.
He wants you to be connected to other people.
He does.
And especially when it comes down to, being a spiritual being, he wants us to be connected.
Yeah. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
I remember actually, I was just reminded of before I met you, we knew each other, but.
Was there ever a time before me?
I mean,
please.
Hardly any.
Gosh.
I mean, and it was terrible, of course. But.
We call that the gray period.
I think around 16, I was particularly lonely. It was high schools can be a tough time. I was involved
you were a genius, too.
Oh, stop. I was
Brilliant
just
in every
different. I was a little too mature for my own good, and I was involved in a ton of things. So no one would have probably known how lonely I was. I was also very concerned with spiritual matters at a time where most people were like trying on lip gloss. And I also love lip gloss.
Well,
but
you already felt the pressure to save the world at that point.
I did.
Yeah.
I was really in it. I'd already been on mission trips, so anyway, it was a tough time. But I said all that to say I remember praying that God would send me a friend that really understood who I was, and I met you.
Well,
and you've been my friend and my bestie since then. That was also a big ask.
Yeah.
Why not say, God, show me some people that I can hang out with that share these values that are going to look out for me spiritually, and send me some friends. And then I think what's interesting is I think he will answer that, but we will have to be on the ready when we see that, or we see that person, we think, maybe that's it. You be the one to say, let's go get coffee.
Right.
You be the one. Or if someone invites you to a spiritual gathering, why not try it once? You know, why not just check into it?
Well,
we get so afraid,
we say that when we invite people to Dreamers all the time, which is, hey, this is a cocktail hour thing, and it's,
No
more or
pressure.
less, you get there, you hang out, and then the whole thing is over like in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So I said, even if it's awful, even if it's terrible, anybody can do anything for that short amount of time.
We're like, it's free drinks and free food.
It's a cocktail party. Anybody can suffer a cocktail party.
Costs you nothing.
And if you hate it, you just don't come back.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're in our area, I mean, connect with some of the people we're connected with. They're pretty awesome. They're
really
from all different walks of life, all different political affiliations, but they're all open-minded and open-hearted. And it's really sweet to feel like you have a posse in a group, and ours is a ragtag group, but I love it.
I feel like people who need people are like the luckiest people in the world.
Yes, you
Yeah.
and Barbara Streisand.
Oh, is there somebody else that said that
Well,
before?
I mean, the lyrics are familiar. I've heard them before. I love it.
People, Mystics, we need you, and we're so grateful to have you in our lives, both personally connected as well as across the interwebs and
Yes.
across the world.
And the Mystics Facebook page is
Yes.
a great way to connect in. Just attached to that, we're going to be posting some things that we talk about, some different writing. We can Facebook message and get you connected in with some people if you want. And
Share some music and some things.
yeah, and maybe we'll invite you at next year's Juneteenth to White People Dance with us.
All right, Mystics, we love you. Continue this conversation, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes, invite someone to coffee and discuss.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode. And remember, continue this conversation with someone you know. This is Pioneer Dream.